Hi, I'm MY, a postgrad student undertaking innovative computing in UTM. This video aims to elaborate the understanding and perspective towards both AR and VR technology, which is used as an assessment of critical thinking. Virtual reality means an artificial surrounding simulated to give users an immersive experience in the virtual created world. The characteristics of VR are 3D visual, sensory environment, and interactive. The VR requires high technology of combination between software and hardware computing and modeling to create that world. The key of entering the virtual world normally requires at least a headset which broad the vision of user, and the more advanced equipment will bring better blocking of physical surrounding, which ultimately provide a better immersive experience in the animated world. A user can tour a simulated suite of rooms, experiencing changing viewpoints and perspectives that are convincingly related to his own head turnings and steps. Concept of VR is no stranger to the public. In fact, of the development of VR technology can be tracked back to the middle of last century. Despite the insignificant recognition and appreciation, the developers were determined on this technology to achieve goal of bringing more living-full immersive experience to the mankind, to adopt in different industries for greater possibilities. VR finally gained more recognition and investment since last decade because people have learned the purpose of VR existence. The unique of VR is there are several technology of artificial reality. The unique of VR from the other technology are VR is different in the way of interaction, whereas VR does overlay and replace the physical environment. The physics and common interaction are not identical to the real world, and user will need unique controller for now to explore in VR. VR, we can differentiate VR despite the change of the form. Throughout the years, there are many cartoons and movies demonstrating the VR following the design of the time, and the prediction from the people to the ideal form of VR device varies along the timeline. This, on the other hand, also reflects the technology and innovation during the time. These are some examples of the movie VR listed in the slides. When discussing about VR, nobody will skip the very first VR prototype created in the world, which is Sensorama made by Mr. Morton Hugh Liebeck in 1962. The Sensorama was a mechanical device which included a stereoscopic color display, fans, odor emitters, stereo sound system, and a motional chair. This feature of the Sensorama enabled users to be immersive and receive all the computer stimulus to the physical body to have a hard belief that he's in the scenario. The innovation of the Sensorama established the fundamental experience and goals of the VR to be broad, and the success of this creation made people to be more into this technology, which can realize a virtual world. On the other hand, along the history of VR, there were many inventions in astronomy, medical, military, and entertainment, which were rich in technology and functionality. However, I will nominate another milestone of VR to the Oculus Rift, which was proposed in 2010. Because Oculus Rift was the one VR device which showed that VR can be a commercial equipment and VR can be used by the world. The first trailer of Oculus Rift was uploaded on YouTube in 2012 and quickly gained large attention across the internet, which defined the new gaming entertainment experience. This Rift is not a bulky, heavy brick, which it uses only a headset and two controllers to realize all the key elements of VR interaction. Oculus Rift was displayed in many international gaming conferences in 2013, enables the public to experience VR and grow the interest and excitement to this futuristic technology. Oculus Rift quickly became a hot topic and big companies start to develop equipment like the Rift to share the hot cake. which boosts up the revolution, and finally we gotta see the commercial VR device nowadays. Create a virtual world for the users. This provides options for consumers to gain more experience of entertainment using the VR devices. By equipping VR headset, users gain immersive experience into the visually isolated world. It's widely used in watching movies and playing games which give more realistic than a traditional 3D technology. There are many VR videos on YouTube since 2016. By using VR controllers, there are many inventions of games developed by utilizing concept of VR. Each time a VR game gains a phenomenal revolution, there is always a new creativity and methods of gaming to be developed. In early days, the VR roller coaster and VR plane were demonstrations of VR game viral on the internet. The graphic was not as high resolution as now, but from the video we can see the player were pretty scared of the crowd due to how immersive the experience are. In 2019, Beat Saber was introduced and quickly drew attraction to this VR gaming. In Beat Saber, players are immersed in the artificial environment and the instruction of motion come. People will need to slash, dodge, and move to continue the game. The excellent visualization of the game and the gamability of the interaction in the VR world again light up the development of VR. Nowadays, there are many VR games on the market, and it is very well adapted with action games and RPG games, which players can have more interaction of using both hands to act. The most selling VR games are Blaze and Sorcery, Project Cars, Half-Life, and Superhot, which players have more work to explore to and more gamification than VR has ever been. In fact, there are many developments of VR in action. We can expect to see another phenomenon VR madness with equipment like Victor's Omni Ghost commercial. The benefit of VR in entertainment is we can see that VR in entertainment provides a better and funnier experience to the users. Secondly, the emerging VR brings a dynamic versatility in the genre of gaming, as the artificial worlds can be fantasy and really interesting for everyone. Last but not least, players on a VR device also can save space and cost because players are diving into the virtual worlds to experience where there is no need physical items and travel to be taken. A user of non-immersive VR are connected to the virtual world through traditional screens like computer and TV. Users are not disconnected to the real world and can access the world using mouses, keyboards, and controllers. Users are rather more aware of the environment. It can be used in flight simulations or astronomy simulation to enhance research. For semi-immersive VR, it's a VR technology using large projection screens or multiple screens in a room, for example, cave. Users in this VR gain more immersive to the virtual world, at the same time can remain conscious to the physical environment. It's used in learning, training, and education which can give more actual expectations to the scenarios. For fully immersive VR, it's an extreme VR display to maximize the cut-off of physical worlds. Users will use headsets to cover the site and focus on the VR display. Users with joystick controller are pretty much see their hands in either gamified blocks or tools because no physical items are projected into the virtual world. It's widely used in gaming industry, where an virtual avatar are used to act. Feedback is the type of touch technology that provides stimulated physical feedback, allow the user to touch and feel something in the virtual environment that is not in the real world. There is vibromatic haptics, ultrasonic haptics, microphysics, force control, and surface haptics as the example of haptics. Haptics in VR is an important integration to the VR stimulation system after sense of sight and sense of hearing. This sense of touch in VR enables the immersiveness and interaction of user to the virtual world, and this feedback will create more actual feeling and various of body detection, which can narrow the gap between virtual world and physical world. Easy to counter the challenge of VR. It's high cost for CPU, GPU, and talents in developer which can break creative blocks. There's also user acceptance to VR sickness is also a drawback. There are common symptoms such as eye strain, nausea, dizziness, disorientation, and motion sickness. The physical constraints such as space and the weight of head-mounted device is also troublemaking. Latency is the delay between signals to and from the VR devices, which can be trouble because users want to feel the virtual world as responsive as the actual world is. The unreal virtual worlds and interaction may also be challenging. Although some users are really into the cartoonish or themed world, users might get disappointed when VR world may feel graphically less true. This is because human eye can see 576 megapixels at very high motion rate. Furthermore, the stimulation of the smells, taste, and real touch are also absent in VR nowadays. 3D or AR is the extension of actual world. It uses computing to generate digital graphics over the display. AR is real-time enhancement and overlaying. Primary goal is to highlight specific features of the physical world, increase understanding of those features, and derive smart and accessibility insight that can be applied to real-world applications. AR and VR are very much different. Most typically say AR only overlays physical worlds instead of replacing using a virtual world. AR is pretty much adding information to the actual project through the screens, which focus more on the daily life of the users. Then architects can use Archi apps to display their design. Archi is a useful tool to be used in project bidding, property sales, and international conference by rendering digital 3D models. The AR display enables a solid understanding of the project to all people without understanding engineering drawing. The communication can be easily done through Archi. It's largely used by top brands to sell their products, such as shoes, furniture, bags, lipstick, and even a car. Adidas is among the first AR adopters to let consumers to try out their products at home through AR. With LiDAR on smartphone, consumers can try out different designs, colors, and sizes of sneakers and bags. This increases the convenience of the consumer to improve sales without returning unsuitable products. Most importantly, Adidas free up shelf space using this AR application. In mobile AR, there is safety concern because AR uses network and camera, which could expose the privacy and location of the users. The hardware limitation also bring challenge, such as high performance CPU, GPU, and long-lasting battery is naturally needed in using mobile AR. Technology of camera is also far behind the requirement, such as resolution and LiDAR, especially for marker-based AR. There is also limited interaction which can only be viewed and controlled over the small screen for AR. Apple Vision Pro is a tool to enter the Apple environment system such as Apple Arcade, iPhone Codes, and Apple TV. There are capture tracking and eye tracking built in Apple Vision Pro. It's also very well consumer and entertainment oriented. On the other hand, Microsoft HoloLens is the ultimate device to access large availability of AR applications and software. The HoloLens is wire-free and light in weight. Microsoft HoloLens is a primary choice of professional tools developers, improve the functionality and usability of these AR devices. I hope this video describes a clear image of VR and AR. There are ways more and more developing of technology we can expect. Thanks for your attention to this video. Hope that you enjoy it. Thank you.